Hey all, this is Ed Tom. Welcome to HFC's End of Year 2022 Recap vid. I'm not going to keep you long this year. There's a few important things that I need to address, but otherwise, it was a pretty average year for us. There were a few ups and downs, don't get me wrong, and I'm going to go into those, but otherwise, there isn't really much notable outside of yet another successful charity marathon, thank you by the way, for me to talk about. I guess I'll just, start with the fact that there were a lot of tech issues this year. In roughly the middle of the year, my PC died, which was great. I sent that in to be fixed. By the way, this tale, some of you may already know, if you follow me on Twitter, edtom64_life, L-Y-F-E. So yeah, I sent my PC in to a place that I shall not disclose the name of, because, you know, I've already bitched about them enough on Twitter, and it came back to still not work. So I sent it in again, and it came back not working again. This time it had a big old dent in the top of it, and the plug was bent, so I couldn't even test to see if it worked, which was great. So then I gathered up all the pennies I had, and I ordered a new one. And apart from some Windows 10 quirks every now and then, this one's working pretty swell so far, so I don't have much to complain about in that regard. But then, in October of 2022, just when I thought my problems had gone, you know, my karma had readjusted for the year, I went with Richie to our local fair, Goose Fair. Look it up, it's a Nottingham-based thing. Who would have thought that going out into a huge crowd of people at a fun fair, you know, when you stay inside all day, would give you a respiratory illness? So, for most of the rest of October and a little bit into November, I was very sick. It wasn't COVID, I can tell you that now. I did a bunch of tests and made sure it wasn't. But it was a fairly harrowing time. You know, it was touch and go for me, especially as a hypochondriac. But yeah, I bounced back from that, and haven't really been sick since, which is great. So all I have to say is, God bless you all for being so patient this year, because Lord knows there's been a lot of delays and whatnot, and you know, sometimes it's just due to people being unavailable, but this time it really was my fault, and I know I shouldn't blame myself for getting sick, but at the same time, you're only here for the content, you're not here to be my friend. You know what I mean? So I try to provide you guys with the videos you subscribe for as much as possible. I apologise that I couldn't do it a lot this year, especially in the latter half of the year. So hopefully in 2023 things will go a lot more smoothly. The next segment I want to go over is, well, I've got it written down here, is notable content. I don't think any of our content was notable, but let me just go ahead and tab on over to our playlists section. And I should be able to bring up the notable playthroughs that we have done this year. Let's have a look in at current playthroughs and projects. Nope, it's going to have to be completed playthroughs and projects. There we go. Let's see here. We got the Super Mario 3D World online co-op run. That was pretty fun. A bit frustrating in parts, but I'm really glad the online held out as much as it did, even if I had to do Champions Run or Road solo. That was a bit of a letdown, but otherwise I thought that was a really cool playthrough overall. We also did Bowser's Fury afterwards. That was just me and Tanner, I believe, but that was also a fun time. The entire run was myself, Flame, Samurai Snake, and Tanner. It's very easy to get an online game going, even if you have, you know, a Wi-Fi connection, so don't be put off by that. I know Nintendo's online sucks most of the time, but for 3D World, it strangely worked. Much better than Super Mario Maker 2 somehow, so yeah, give it a shot. Then we had Kena, Bridge of Spirits for the PS5. This one didn't really pop off as much as I would have liked it to, but whenever Richie and I get together and record stuff, we're always just kind of chill, and chill to the point of being a bit dull, I think. But that's just us two. You know, we like to take it at our own pace. And Kena is also a very chill kind of game, even when it's, you know, more action. I'm not going to make excuses, that one didn't bang as much as I wanted to, but I'm really glad we did it. And it has a bunch of new updates, I believe, so now's a great time to actually play the game for yourself if you want to. Then we had the Banjo-Kazooie livestream, always fun to go back to that. Really need a Switch N64 controller though, especially for firing eggs and whatnot, as you may have seen during the final boss. Then we had the live stream playthrough of Spiritfarer, which ran throughout the year. I'm really glad I was able to bring that to the channel, because while that is just kind of a put it on in the background sort of playthrough, it's also a very emotional one, especially to me. So I'm glad we were able to complete that this year. Another live stream playthrough, Pokemon Renegade Platinum. Was that really this year? God, it's been like a long year and a short year. But that was Spar's baby. I was along for the ride on that one. Pretty fun ROM hack overall. Then more Pokemon Legends Arceus. That was a very fun playthrough. I'm kind of sad they've taken out like throwing Pokeballs and whatnot in Scarlet and Violet. So whenever I get to that playthrough, I might bemoan the loss of that feature. But that was Rich, Flame, and myself. That was a good one. And then we get to the NTOM's PC is dead arc, and there's just like 5 live stream playthroughs in a row here. Spark the Electric Jester 2, Super Mario Sunshine, Journey and Abzu. I would recommend watching that Abzu playthrough over the one I did with Flame and Richie, because I was a bitch during that run for reasons I can't really recall. And then Tanner had a Skullgirls Second Encore run. I'm kind of just reading off the playthroughs here, but hey, might as well continue as I mean to go on. Then we had Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and we managed to just sneak in the bonus stuff before Tanner left to start a new life in a new country. So I'm really glad that playthrough ended on a hype note. Then we were able to bring What Remains of Edith Finch to the channel. I love these walkie-talkie sorts of games. I love point-and-click adventure games. A little bit of both here. One of the most atmospheric games I've played this generation. So I would definitely recommend picking it up and playing it for yourself. And then Richie and I brought both of the Klonoa games from the Fantasy Reverie series collection to the channel, Door to Phantomile and Lunatea's Veil. 6 and 7 videos respectively. How about that? Wouldn't mind a couple more Klonoa collections. Maybe bring the GBA games over. That'd be neat. And then to celebrate Kingdom Hearts' 20th anniversary, we actually had a playthrough of Kingdom Hearts Final Mix with myself and Spar. That was 20 videos long. I'm not sure if we planned for that, but it turned out a treat. Look out for a playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix in 2023 to kick off our 15th anniversary, more of which later. Then we had the God of War 3 Remastered stream. That was my first time playing. There was a big gap between the second and third part, so apologies for that, but we got it done eventually. Then we had the second HFC Sonicathon, which I think went pretty swell. Like, there were very few technical hitches in this. Pretty happy with the money we raised for charity, Child's Play specifically, and obviously it's always fun to have a bit of a Sonic marathon. So yeah, there we go. I'm just rambling now. I don't have a script for these things. And then I believe we had the NTOM is sick art, because I'm seeing Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn and Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm for the HFC livestream here. So yeah, there you go. And the last playthrough of 2022, the last complete one anyway, was actually Stray for the PlayStation 5. Slight Kana vibes here. I would have liked this to bang a little bit more, but let's be honest, we're so over the hill with Dust at this point, and also it didn't help that we started like, what, 4 to 5 months after release when all the hype had died down, so completely on me. But Stray was a great time, especially playing it blind and whatnot. I'm glad I didn't watch any playthroughs before we got on to that. And actually, in regards to the amount of money we raised for the second HFC Sonicathon, I'd be remiss if I didn't include the actual total here. The final donation amount was $6,484.64. 40 plus games, 18 days, 6 runners, 1 charity, that being Child's Play. Thank you all so much for helping us to make this event a success. I will be going over the next HFC Marathon after the next section. This one's a little bit selfish, a little bit personal. I want to go over my top 5 games of the year. If you've been following us on Twitter, that's either ntom64_HFC, which is the main HFC one, where you don't have to listen to me ramble about Steven Universe for the 50th time that day. We've actually been doing a HFC Games of the Year thing, so if I scroll down here, I will be able to tell you mine. My game of the year is actually Neon White. It is a first-person speed sort of game. I hesitate to call it an FPS because while you do shoot, it's more like you're expending cards to do actions and whatnot. Like, you can discard a yellow card to, you know, get an extra jump. There's like bazookas and whatnot that can act as like grappling hooks and so on. difficult to describe without giving too much away, but just the sense of speed, the characters, the story, the music, everything banged for me. I like going fast, what can I say? My top 4 was the Live Alive remake, fantastic, maybe the best RPG I've played this year, outside of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Sonic Frontiers, stay tuned to the finale of that for my full thoughts in the new year. Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope was definitely one I didn't expect to make my top 4, but I was utterly addicted to that game. I'm not really a strategy kind of guy, I'm not that smart, but that one did it for me. I'm actually playing Kingdom Battle right now, and it's amazing the jump in quality from the first to the second game. Going back was maybe not the best idea, but hey, I'm here now, I've started so I'll finish. And the last game of my top 4 was actually also a surprise. I was kind of interested when Disney Dreamlight Valley popped up in all those Nintendo Directs, but I never suspected I'd end up putting over 100 plus hours into it. Let me put it this way, if you like Disney even a little bit, and you like Animal Crossing, you will love this game. I'm hesitant to say get it on the Switch, because that's where I played it, because it doesn't run that great, but on like PC and the other consoles, I imagine it's a much smoother experience. So yeah, that's definitely one I recommend. And there is like a bunch of honourable mentions I should be addressing here. I'm just scrolling down right now. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, pretty good if you want to have any Yu-Gi-Oh! Fun. Pokemon Legends Arceus, of course, didn't make my top 5, but that's only because there are so many great games this year. And it also came out pretty early, so that kind of, you know, puts it at a disadvantage. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I've only really played Forgotten Land, Robobot, and maybe a bit of Superstar, but that might be my favourite Kirby to date. Everything about it, from just like the ease of translation from 2D to 3D, power-ups you have, the levels you go through, the enemies you fight, the story itself, the music, it bangs. That's a phrase I'm apparently using for this video a lot. Stray, obviously, didn't quite make my top 5. I considered it for a little bit, but feel like there's more to be done with this formula before it can reach such a height. Great game, very much enjoyed it. I want to see more from this studio first. Spark the Electric Jester 3. Haven't played the first 2 games. The stream we did of it, my blind stream, was a little bit iffy, just in terms of, you know, tone and whatnot. I was in a bit of a grumpy mood then. I don't know why. Who really knows when and why they're angry sometimes, but we're going to be redoing that very early in the new year, probably the first week of the new year, so keep an eye out for that. Pac-Man World Repack. Never played the World games back in the day. I was more of a Spyro kind of guy, but that was fun, and I definitely didn't expect an anime ED, let's put it that way. Return to Monkey Island. Say what you will about that ending, I know it's divisive, but that game was a lot of fun. It felt like no time had passed at all in terms of like the puzzle design and the writing. It was smooth as anything. Shovel Knight Dig. A little bit of frustration due to RNG, but man, when you manage to get a complete run, that feeling of elation is quite unlike anything I've played this year, so I'd be remiss not putting it in my honourable mentions list. And I guess the last honourable mention here, I didn't complete it, but I played a few hours on stream, is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. It takes everything that was good about the previous version of the game and just applies a little bit more love to it. That's the best way I can describe it. Combat feels more fluid, visuals are better, music is popping off with all the remixes and whatnot. It is just a great version of the game. Now, as for games I'm looking forward to in 2023, there's a few of them. I'm not going to spend as much time with these as I did on the honourable mentions, but let's see. We've got Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, I know. I just like Harry Potter. What can I say? The Mega Man Battle Network Collection. Very much looking forward to that. Can't wait to play 1 through 5 for the first time. And Tears of the Kingdom, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild 2. Ooh, I really hope we get a trailer for that soon, because God knows we need one. Like, oh, the Minish in it? That's all I want to know at this point. Alrighty, penultimate section of this little vid. It's time to reveal just what HFC All-Stars, our 2023 marathon, is. we kind of went back and forth as to what we wanted to do for our 15th anniversary in terms of charity marathons. Some of us said Zelda. I think Flame might have said Sonic for the 50th time. I think in the end, we agreed that we need to do something that kind of represents us as a group. Some of you may have guessed this already, but what HFC All-Stars is our favourite games. We are going to bring games you may have seen before, games you may have only heard before, to the lineup. So for me, it'll be like Banjo-Kazooie, Majora's Mask. I definitely want to bring Neon White in there, show you what the hype is for that. And yeah, we're going to go through basically every runner's favourite games, but not just favourite games, stuff that kind of embodies who we are as people. Because, you know, it's our 15th anniversary. Who knows, it might be the last one we get to celebrate together, just because, you know, we're not really getting any younger here. So I figure might as well make this a very personal one. And the general start date for this is going to be, I want to say, August or so? Yeah, August, just looking at the Discord messages. Yeah, we'll have the same shtick as usual. There will be games to unlock via donations, there'll be incentives for regular games and whatnot, and we are once again going to be raising money for Child's Play, which is an organisation which provides toys and games to kids staying long-term in hospital to help ease their stay. It sucks, even as an adult, when you have to stay in hospital. Time moves even slower for a child, so any little helps, really. And the final section, I guess I should start wrapping this up now, is what's coming for HFC in 2023. Well, obviously, you know, we have the 15th anniversary, but as to what's coming in regards to that, there's going to be specific redone playthroughs. Now, it's not going to be every classic one. I'm not planning on redoing Sonic Adventure, for example, without FDA, and, you know, he's gone, like, permanently AFK, so, you know, it wouldn't really be SA1 redone without him. But there's specific other playthroughs that I did manage to get a couple of people back for that I would like to, you know, have a second glance at, new footage, new commentary, and a few MISC ones that current HFC members can help redo and whatnot. I'm not going to go into what these games are right now, except for Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, of course, and who knows, maybe you can guess the COCOM for that. I'm not saying anything right now, just so they're not tied down. And there's also going to be another event besides HFC All-Stars happening in 2023. Again, maybe you can guess what this is. I've maybe hinted at it here and there throughout 2022, but nothing has been done for that yet, so just in case it falls through, I'm not going to commit to anything here, but should it turn out well, I think it's going to be a good one. As for how playthroughs themselves are going to work in the new year, I think we need to scale back a little bit, and I'll tell you for why in a second. So, the new playthrough scale is going to be no more than 2 ongoing at a time, and no more than 1 per COCOM. Like with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Spar and I are going to keep going until we're done. We're not going to put anything on top of that. So, as for Pokemon Scarlet, that's not going to happen at the beginning of the new year. That's probably going to happen after Xenoblade 3. And the reason for this scaling back is because the Patreon backlog is far too big for its own good. Our output has been pathetic this year, all of it my fault. Even if other COCOMs weren't available and whatnot, this is my responsibility first and foremost. Something needs to be done about it. So I want to spend more time on Patreon content and less with the playthroughs, which, you know, we could easily put out 1 playthrough at a time and, you know, still keep things consistent. But the Patreon stuff is what I really want to focus on in 2023. And I've said it before, Lord knows I'll say it again in the future, I apologise. You know, you guys come to support us and expect a little something in return. We get the support, notably I do, I get to pay my rent and maybe pick up some games for the channel every so often, but you guys haven't really been getting your side of the bargain, so I want to make sure that changes in 2023. Lastly, in regards to what content we're going to be kicking off the new year with, Sonic Frontiers will be continuing. We've only got a little bit more to do with that. It would have been done before, you know, 2022 was out, but unfortunately, Tanner can't really help getting sick, and, you know, Flame and I don't really want to record without him. You know, he's an integral part of that playthrough, so we apologise for the delay, but he seems to be getting better on a day-by-day basis, so we'll get to that as soon as possible. We should also be starting God of War Ragnarok as well. Now, Tanner's going to be the co-com for that. I did say there wouldn't be more than 2 playthroughs to a co-com at a time. Sonic Frontiers will be the last playthrough in that regard, because once that's done, Tanner and I will be doing God of War Ragnarok and also TV comms, so I'm making sure to stick to the scale that we promised. The first week of the year will be a recording one for us, as well as, you know, some MISC streams here and there. Like I said, Spark 3 is going to happen, so keep an eye out for that, and maybe other stuff from like Spar and whatnot. So I'm going to end things by saying thank you all for a great year, even if it wasn't so great on my end. You know, tech issues, delays, illness. I think it's just finally catching up to me just how rough this year was. There's also like a couple of other things that happened, but I mentioned that on Twitter. I don't want to leave things on a down note here. If you know, you know. I'm not going to go into it here, but I'm as optimistic as ever about the upcoming new year. What with all the new playthroughs happening, HFC 15th anniversary content coming, HFC All-Stars in August, and maybe that other mystery project happening towards the end of the year, I think we've got a lot of good stuff coming for 2023. Thanks guys for supporting us in 2022. I've been Entom64, we've been HellfireComms, and we'll see you in 2023 for another year of Hellfire commentaries. Bye for now.